Welcome to the Militia gaming community. I'm Trigger, and today we get to find out what the fastest car in Need for Speed Heat is in drag applications. Let's go. Before we get into it, I just want to mention you can find everything from all of my car builds to my best guides on money, rep, escaping the cops, and just general driving techniques on my website. It's definitely the best place to go for everything related to my channel. It is militiagamingco.com. Alright, so before we start living our lives a quarter mile at a time, I have to set the stage for you so you know how these runs and how this tournament was conducted. First, to make sure that we have the correct top 16 cars, I bought and built every single car in the game with the exception of the KS Deluxe Edition cars, which are just reskins of those cars anyway. I then sorted all the cars by their quarter mile stat. Some cars had the same quarter mile stat, so those cars were ordered by 0 to 60. Then I took the top 16 cars and put them in a single elimination tournament bracket, and I recorded one drag race run per car. Then I put those recordings side by side with the other car that's in their bracket. The fastest car obviously moves on and the slower car gets eliminated. Now the reason it's important to actually put these runs next to each other is because the stats in Need for Speed Heat are not very accurate when it comes to the drag race that most players find themselves in when they're in online lobbies. The stat is a quarter mile, but the length of the drag race is actually more like a half a mile. So there's some extra road that the cars that are quicker to top speed benefit from. Anyways, all of the cars are equipped with a 1x15 pound NOS tank and NOS duration. This is how most players will drag race in online lobbies. The results of this bracket would most likely change if we did not allow NOS, but that's just not the reality of online lobbies. As far as the runs go, all of the cars are launched at 0 RPMs. For maximum traction. I've tested this before this video, and launching at redline allows for more wheel spin and less acceleration, so all of the cars were launched at 0 RPMs, and I immediately used NOS off the start. Some cars have a ton of torque steer combined with a huge wheelie off the start when you use NOS at launch. This made it impossible to record a straight run for those cars. So for those cars that were like really bad with this, I just waited until about second or third gear to introduce the NOS. This probably does have an effect on the results, but the reality of these cars is unavoidable. If you were in an online lobby and you kept launching and using NOS off the launch and then just crashing into the car next to you, there really isn't any racing going on. So you would be forced to use your NOS later after you've already started, like in second or third gear. So that's the way we ran those cars. That being said, there are some cars that I did not do that with that still had a lot of torque steer, and I left those runs because it wasn't enough to take me into a building or off the road. If I could keep the car on the road, I left the run in. If it was too much to where it would take me off the road, I launched that car and then NOS'd in second or third. Alright, let's get into the tournament. So there you have it. The Volkswagen Beetle is the fastest drag race car in the game, followed surprisingly by the F40, the RSR, and then the Pagani Huayra. I never would have guessed that the F40, which has the 10th fastest quarter mile stat, would have made it all the way to the final race, beating cars like the number 2 ranked Volvo 242 DL and the number 6 ranked Pagani Huayra. I thought for sure we would see a Beetle Volvo final race, considering that they both have the same quarter mile stat of 8.3 seconds. Anyways, this just goes to show you that the stats in this game are not always applicable to the situation that you're in. There are so many variables in racing, whereas the stat only measures one single thing. The only way to figure out which cars perform better on any given track, drag race scenario, off-road event, or drift trial is to actually test them head to head. Hey, before I go, shout out to all the Heat 5 members of the channel. If you want to see your name up here with the rest of these legends, all you have to do is click the join button below and become a Heat 5 member. By doing this, you'll be supporting the channel in ways you will not believe, and you get all kinds of sweet perks like members only streams and specific exclusive Discord channel access. All right. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. I will catch you on the next one. Trigger out.